All right, so you've brought some pretty interesting writings for us to dive into.
Oh, yeah.
Works by the 14th century Islamic scholar Ibn Qayyim al-Jawziyya, specifically his perspective on knowledge.
Right.
We're looking at excerpts from the translated book Ibn Qayyim on Knowledge.
Okay.
So let's explore what made this guy tick.
Yeah.
What did he believe about knowledge? Why was it so important to him? And what can we, centuries later, still learn from his ideas?
Right.
I think you'll find some of these comparisons he makes are pretty surprising.
Okay.
We'll be talking about fish, camels,
Wow.
and even getting into paradise.
Interesting.
So it's pretty fascinating stuff.
It is. It's amazing how Ibn Qayyim doesn't just say knowledge is good to have.
Right.
He elevates it to something truly supreme.
Yeah.
He argues that knowledge is superior to wealth, worldly possessions, and even certain forms of worship.
Yeah, I was struck by that too.
Yeah.
How does he get that across?
Well, he uses some pretty vivid analogies. For example, he compares having wealth to wearing borrowed clothes.
Okay.
It's temporary, it can be taken away,
Right.
but he says knowledge is like an inseparable trait.
Yeah.
It becomes a part of who you are.
It's like the difference between wearing a fancy outfit and actually possessing inner strength, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
And he backs this up with a powerful quote.
Okay.
Knowledge preserves you, while you must work to protect wealth.
That really sums it up.
Mm-hmm.
He wasn't messing around. Didn't he also have a whole bunch of arguments to support this idea?
He did.
Okay.
Ibn Qayyim actually lays out 40 proofs for knowledge's superiority over wealth.
Wow. 40.
We won't go through all of them,
Yeah, probably not.
but they touch on some really thought-provoking points.
Can you give us a taste?
Of course.
Okay.
For example, he argues that knowledge can help you distinguish between what is truly beneficial and what is harmful in life.
Okay.
It helps you navigate challenges and make informed decisions. He also emphasizes that the pursuit of knowledge is an act of worship that brings you closer to God,
Okay.
leading to a more fulfilling and meaningful life.
So it's not just about worldly success.
Oh,
It's
no.
about connecting to something bigger.
Exactly.
And it seems like Ibn Qayyim viewed those who possess and share knowledge, scholars,
yes.
as having a really important role in society.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
He calls them heirs of the prophets,
Wow.
carrying on the legacy of teaching
Yeah.
and guiding people towards truth.
Uh-huh.
He even quotes a hadith,
Okay.
a saying of the Prophet Muhammad,
Right.
that describes angels lowering their wings for those seeking knowledge.
Okay.
He also says that fish in the sea seek forgiveness for scholars.
Wow.
Yeah,
Fish asking for forgiveness for scholars.
it's a powerful image.
That's a powerful image.
Yeah.
It really shows how much value he placed on seeking and sharing knowledge, right?
Absolutely.
But he doesn't just talk about having knowledge, does he?
You're right.
Yeah.
He goes beyond that. He's very clear that knowledge without action is incomplete.
So what's the point of having all this knowledge if you're not actually using it?
Exactly.
Right.
He describes 4 types of people:
Okay.
those who have knowledge and act on it,
Uh-huh.
those who have knowledge but don't act,
Right.
those who act without knowledge,
Okay.
and lastly, those who have neither knowledge nor action.
Okay, so the ideal is to have both knowledge and the follow-through.
He believes so.
Right.
In fact, he states that guiding even a single person to the right path through your teaching is more valuable than possessing a multitude of camels.
Wow.
Think about how prized camels were at that time.
Yeah.
That's a pretty big statement.
It definitely shows where his priorities lay.
Absolutely.
This is making me think about how often we might have knowledge about something, but we don't necessarily act on it.
It's a challenge we all face.
Yeah, for sure. Speaking of challenges, I found Ibn Qayyim's exploration of the human heart really interesting.
Yeah.
He describes the heart as a vessel, capable of holding both knowledge and doubt.
Yes, and he uses this great analogy,
Okay.
comparing hearts to valleys.
Okay. I'm intrigued. Tell me more.
He says some hearts are like fertile valleys,
Uh-huh.
flourishing with goodness.
Right.
Others are barren or filled with things that can be harmful.
So our hearts are kind of like gardens.
Yeah.
We have to tend to them and be careful about what we plant there.
That's a great way to put it.
Yeah.
He also highlights what he calls the diseases of the heart.
Okay.
Temptations that can lead us astray, doubts that can cloud our judgment, and heedlessness, that state of being unaware or unmindful of what's truly important.
So how do we keep our hearts healthy and receptive to knowledge?
That's a key question.
Especially when we're bombarded with so much information and distractions these days.
And one that Ibn Qayyim explores further.
Yeah.
He delves into the complex relationship between knowledge and guidance, questioning whether knowing the right thing automatically leads to doing the right thing.
That's a big one.
Yeah.
I think we all know that we can have knowledge about something,
Right.
but still make choices that contradict what we know.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And Ibn Qayyim uses a powerful example to illustrate this.
You're right.
The story of Satan,
Right.
who knew God's commands but chose to disobey.
So what's going on there? Why would someone knowingly choose to go against what they know to be true? This is where it gets really interesting.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah.
Ibn Qayyim provides some fascinating insights into this.
Okay.
He outlines 8 reasons why knowledge might not always lead to guidance.
Okay.
Some of these are internal factors like pride or arrogance
Right.
that can prevent us from admitting we're wrong or changing our course.
Makes sense.
Others are external pressures,
Okay.
like the fear of social disgrace or being swayed by the opinions of those around us.
Right. So it's not always a simple equation.
No.
It's like there's this gap between knowing something intellectually and truly letting it guide our actions.
He's highlighting that gap.
Yeah.
He's reminding us that knowledge is a powerful tool,
Right.
but it's not a guarantee.
Uh-huh.
It takes conscious effort and a willingness to let knowledge shape our choices.
Okay.
And to illustrate this point further,
Yeah.
he uses stories of prophets,
Right.
embodied knowledge in action.
I remember reading about the story of Umar ibn al-Khattab,
Yes.
a prominent figure in early Islam.
Uh-huh.
He praised a man for his knowledge of Islamic law over his lineage.
Yes. That story highlights how Umar, in that time and culture, valued knowledge more than lineage,
Right.
something that was traditionally very important.
Yeah.
It shows this shift in thinking, where knowledge is seen as a mark of true worth.
And Ibn Qayyim doesn't stop there.
Right.
He also mentions the stories of Joseph and Abraham, highlighting how their rise to prominence in the Qur'an is attributed to their knowledge.
Yeah.
So it's not passive, it empowers people
Exactly.
to make better decisions,
Yeah.
to lead, and to overcome obstacles.
It has this real-world impact.
It does. So it's clear that Ibn Qayyim saw knowledge as crucial for individuals, but he took it a step further, didn't he?
Yes, he did.
He believed that those with knowledge had a responsibility to share it.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
He viewed scholars as entrusted with preserving, defending,
Okay.
and calling others to God's message.
Uh-huh.
He even quotes a verse from the Qur'an that says,
Okay.
"If they disbelieve therein, then indeed we shall entrust it to a people who will not be disbelievers therein."
It's like this idea of keeping the chain of knowledge going, passing it down through generations.
And making sure it flourishes.
Yeah, but it's not just about blindly following what's been taught.
Right.
Ibn Qayyim also stresses the importance of contemplation
Yes.
as a way to gain deeper understanding.
Absolutely.
Didn't he quote one of the predecessors,
He did.
the early generations of Muslims, who said something like, "Contemplation for an hour is better than worship for 60 years.
Yes.
Wow. Okay.
That quote really speaks to the power of reflection.
It does.
Ibn Qayyim believed that contemplation was about going beyond surface-level understanding.
Okay.
It was about pondering the meaning of what you've learned, connecting it to your life,
Right.
and letting it shape your actions.
So it's about truly internalizing knowledge and letting it transform you, not just inform you.
Exactly.
He believed that contemplation could awaken awareness, help us curb those worldly desires that can lead us astray, and ultimately bring us closer to God.
Absolutely.
So it's about using knowledge to fuel both personal growth and spiritual development.
He beautifully brings those two together.
He does. What I'm getting from all of this is that for Ibn Qayyim, knowledge was far more than just a collection of facts. It was a path to enlightenment,
Yes.
a source of inner strength, and a responsibility to share with others.
Absolutely.
He seems to be saying that in a world often driven by material pursuits,
Yeah.
knowledge holds a timeless value.
Absolutely. And that's a message that continues to resonate even centuries later.
It certainly resonates with me.
Yeah.
So, where do we go from here? What else did Ibn Qayyim have to say about this idea of knowledge?
Well, let's delve into how he categorized different types of knowledge.
Okay.
He had some really specific ideas about what kind of knowledge we are obligated to seek.
All right.
We'll explore those distinctions when we come back.
Sounds good. So we've established that Ibn Qayyim was a major proponent of knowledge. It was like this supreme treasure to him.
Yeah.
But he didn't just talk about knowledge in a general sense, did he?
No, not at all.
Okay.
He actually broke it down into different types,
Okay.
exploring what knowledge is necessary and how it impacts individuals and the community as a whole.
Okay, I'm curious.
Yeah.
How did he categorize knowledge?
Well, Ibn Qayyim talked about two main types of knowledge that we're obligated to seek, pertains and kifaya.
Okay.
These are terms used in Islamic jurisprudence to denote different levels of obligation.
I'm not familiar with those terms.
Oh, okay.
Could you break them down for me?
Of course. Pertains refers to knowledge that is essential for every individual Muslim to acquire.
Okay.
It's considered a personal obligation.
Okay.
Think of it like the foundation of faith.
So what kind of knowledge falls under this category?
Ibn Qayyim includes things like the 5 pillars of Islam.
Okay.
These are the core tenets of the faith.
Right.
Belief in God, his angels, his books, his messengers, and the last day.
Right. The basics.
He also includes knowledge about how to perform the daily prayers and other essential acts of worship.
Okay, so that makes sense.
Yeah.
Pertains is like knowledge 101.
Right.
The must-haves for every Muslim.
Exactly.
What about fard kifaya?
Fard kifaya is really interesting.
Okay.
It refers to knowledge that's crucial for the well-being of the entire community.
Okay.
It's a collective responsibility. Enough people in society need to have this specialized knowledge to ensure the community thrives.
Can you give us some examples?
Definitely. Ibn Qayyim includes fields like medicine, engineering,
Okay.
and even specialized areas within Islamic law.
So you don't need everyone to be a doctor
Right.
or a scholar of Islamic law.
Exactly.
But you need enough people with that expertise so the community can function properly.
That's a great way to put it.
It's like a division of labor.
Yeah.
But based on knowledge, everyone contributes to the collective good in their own specialized way.
It's this idea of shared responsibility.
Right.
We all have a part to play in using our knowledge to benefit others.
This makes me think about the importance of supporting education and specialized training in our communities.
Yes, Ibn Qayyim would definitely agree with that.
He was a strong advocate for fostering a culture of knowledge and learning.
Absolutely.
He believed that neglecting these vital fields could have negative consequences for everyone. So knowledge isn't just about individual enlightenment.
Right.
It has social implications as well.
Exactly.
Okay.
And this brings us to another point that Ibn Qayyim raises.
Right.
The potential dangers of certain types of knowledge.
Yeah, okay.
If they're not approached with the right mindset and intentions.
What kind of knowledge did he have in mind?
He specifically cautioned against an over-reliance on Greek logic and philosophy.
Okay.
Without grounding them in Islamic principles.
So he wasn't completely against these areas of knowledge?
Right.
But he saw a potential risk
Yeah.
if they weren't balanced with the strong spiritual foundation.
Right. He saw a danger in knowledge becoming detached from its purpose,
Okay.
guiding us towards God and living a righteous life.
Right.
He worried that people could get lost in intellectual debates and abstract theories without connecting them back to practical application and spiritual growth.
So it's not enough to just have the knowledge.
Yeah.
It's about how we use it
Exactly.
and what it motivates us to do.
He's reminding us that knowledge should illuminate our path, not lead us astray.
That makes me think about the saying, with great power comes great responsibility.
Oh, that's a good one.
Knowledge can be a powerful tool,
It is.
but we have to use it wisely.
Ibn Qayyim was very concerned about the ethical implications of knowledge.
Right.
And this ties back to his point about knowledge without action being incomplete. He critiques scholars who hoard knowledge without sharing it,
Okay.
or who use their knowledge for personal gain or status
Right.
instead of serving the community.
He doesn't shy away from calling out hypocrisy, does he?
No, he's very direct about it.
He distinguishes between true scholars,
Yes.
those who embody both knowledge and righteousness, and those who might possess a lot of information,
Right.
but don't live up to its ethical and spiritual demands.
It's about walking the walk,
Right.
not just talking the talk.
Absolutely.
It's about embodying the knowledge you have,
Mm-hmm.
letting it shape your character and actions. And this leads us to another crucial distinction Ibn Qayyim makes.
All right.
The difference between theoretical knowledge and experiential knowledge.
What does he mean by that?
He says that simply knowing about God isn't enough.
Okay.
True knowledge, or marifa as he calls it,
Okay.
involves a deeper, more intimate understanding.
Okay.
It's a heart-centered connection that goes beyond intellectual concepts.
So marifa is more than just knowing facts about God.
Exactly.
It's about experiencing God's presence in your life
Mm,
and letting that experience transform you.
you got it.
It's about allowing knowledge to shape not only what you think,
Right.
but who you are.
Mm-hmm.
It's about letting it permeate your actions, your character,
Yeah.
and your entire way of being in the world.
That reminds me of the idea of embodied knowledge.
Right.
It's not just something you hold in your head.
Yeah.
It's something you live and breathe.
It's knowledge that's integrated into your entire being.
Ibn Qayyim would love that description.
I think so.
He believed that marifa was the ultimate goal of seeking knowledge.
And doesn't this concept of marifa tie back to his emphasis on contemplation?
Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Okay.
He believed that contemplation was one of the most powerful tools
Mm-hmm.
for cultivating that deeper understanding.
Right.
It's about taking the time to reflect on what you've learned,
Mm-hmm.
connect it to your own experiences,
Yeah.
and allow those insights to guide you towards a more profound relationship with God.
So it's not just about passively absorbing information.
No.
It's about actively engaging with it,
Exactly.
letting it resonate within you,
Mm-hmm.
and allowing it to lead you towards spiritual growth.
He saw contemplation as essential for distinguishing true scholars
Okay.
from those who might have a lot of book knowledge,
Right.
but haven't internalized its deeper meaning.
Yeah, it's what allows those scholars to not only understand the intricacies of Islamic law, for example,
Mm-hmm.
but to also embody its spirit and apply it with wisdom and compassion.
And speaking of illumination,
Mm-hmm.
Ibn Qayyim also talks about something quite intriguing,
Right.
the concept of intuitive knowledge.
Intuitive knowledge.
Yeah.
What's that about?
He describes it as a type of understanding that goes beyond reason and intellect.
Is he talking about something like a sixth sense or a gut feeling?
He draws a parallel between this intuitive knowledge
Okay.
and the knowledge possessed by angels.
Okay.
Angels, according to Islamic belief,
Mm-hmm.
are beings of pure light and intellect.
Right.
They don't have the same limitations as humans.
Right. So they don't experience doubts or temptations in the same way.
Exactly.
Okay.
They have this direct connection to divine knowledge.
Mm-hmm.
Ibn Qayyim acknowledges that there are realms of understanding
Right.
that our rational minds can't fully grasp.
Okay.
But he doesn't believe that we can just conjure up this intuitive knowledge at will.
So it's not about rejecting reason,
Right.
but about recognizing its limits.
Exactly.
Okay.
He believed that purifying the heart through spiritual practices, striving for righteousness,
Mm-hmm.
and deepening our connection with God could open us up to this deeper level of knowing.
Okay.
This intuitive knowledge, he suggests,
Yeah.
could guide us in ways that our intellect alone cannot.
So it's like trusting your gut, but on a spiritual level.
That's a great way to put it.
It's about accessing a deeper wisdom
Yeah.
that transcends our limited human perspective.
It's amazing how Ibn Qayyim brings together these different levels of knowledge.
It is.
The theoretical, the experiential, the intuitive.
Mm.
It shows how they can all work together to guide us towards truth and understanding.
He really emphasized that knowledge isn't static.
Yeah.
It's a journey, a process of continuous learning and growth.
Mm-hmm.
He challenged us to never stop seeking,
Yeah.
never stop questioning,
Uh-huh.
and never stop striving to deepen our understanding.
What stands out to you most from this exploration of the types of knowledge Ibn Qayyim discussed?
I think what's sticking with me is his emphasis on not just acquiring knowledge, but on truly embodying it.
I agree.
He challenges us to go beyond the surface,
Yeah.
to really delve into the meaning of what we learn
Mm.
and allow it to shape who we are and how we live in the world.
He's calling for a holistic approach to knowledge,
Yes.
one that integrates our intellect, our actions, and our spirituality.
And that's a message that feels incredibly relevant even today, wouldn't you say?
Absolutely.
But how do we actually put all of this into practice?
That's a great question.
How did Ibn Qayyim suggest we go about seeking and applying knowledge in our everyday lives?
Mm-hmm.
I'm really interested in hearing about his more practical advice.
Well, that's a great segue into the next part of our deep dive.
Okay.
When we return, we'll explore the steps he outlines for acquiring knowledge
Okay.
and overcoming the obstacles we might face along the way.
So we've been having this fascinating conversation about Ibn Qayyim's views on knowledge.
Yeah.
We've talked about how much he valued it, the different types of knowledge he outlined,
Right.
and the importance of not just possessing knowledge, but letting it guide our actions.
Absolutely.
Now, I'm curious about the more practical side of things.
Okay.
Did Ibn Qayyim offer any advice on how we should actually go about seeking knowledge?
He did. He had some really insightful tips for those who are on this path of seeking knowledge.
Right.
First and foremost, he emphasizes the importance of setting the right intention.
Okay.
He believed that seeking knowledge shouldn't be about showing off or gaining worldly status or engaging in pointless debates.
So no knowledge flexing allowed.
Not if you're following Ibn Qayyim's advice.
Right.
He believed that true knowledge seeking should be driven by a sincere desire to please God,
Okay.
to deepen your understanding of the world and your place in it, and to benefit yourself and others.
So it's about approaching knowledge with humility
Yeah,
and a genuine desire to learn and grow.
exactly. And speaking of humility, he also highlights the importance of choosing the right teachers.
Oh.
He says that not everyone who claims to have knowledge is a trustworthy source.
So it's like finding a mentor, someone who can guide you on your path and help you avoid pitfalls.
He uses the analogy of a traveler seeking directions.
Okay.
You wouldn't just trust anyone on the road.
Right.
You'd look for someone who's been there before.
Right.
Someone who knows the way.
Yeah.
In the same way, he advises seeking out teachers who are known for their piety,
Okay.
their deep understanding, their ability to convey knowledge clearly,
Right.
and their good character.
It makes sense.
Yeah.
You want to learn from those who embody the qualities you aspire to develop in yourself.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And he also emphasizes the need for humility in the learning process.
Okay.
A true learner is always willing to admit what they don't know and to learn from others,
Right.
regardless of their age or social standing.
It's about being open to new perspectives and not letting pride get in the way of learning.
Exactly. He even encourages learners to not be afraid to ask questions,
Right.
even if they seem basic or silly.
Yeah. That can be hard sometimes,
They can.
especially when you're in a room full of people who seem like they know so much more than you do.
He believed that a genuine thirst for knowledge means being curious
Yeah.
and willing to clarify anything you don't understand.
Mm-hmm.
There's no shame in asking for help.
That's a good reminder.
It is.
I'm also curious about his thoughts on the process of seeking knowledge.
Okay.
It doesn't always happen overnight, does it?
He recognized that
Right.
Ibn Qayyim talks about the need for patience and perseverance.
Okay.
He emphasizes that seeking knowledge isn't a quick fix.
Right.
It takes time, effort, and dedication to truly internalize and apply what you learn.
It's like any worthwhile pursuit.
Yeah,
You have to put in the work, the consistent effort.
he compares it to building a muscle.
Okay.
The more you exercise it,
Yeah.
the stronger it becomes.
He also encourages seeking knowledge throughout your life.
Mm-hmm.
Seeing it as an ongoing journey, not a destination to be reached.
Exactly.
So it's not like you get to a certain point and you're done.
No, it's a lifelong endeavor.
Right.
There's always more to learn, more to discover, more to understand.
But that doesn't mean the journey is always easy.
Right.
I imagine there are times when we hit roadblocks or face challenges in our learning.
He acknowledges that.
Okay.
He talks about how there will inevitably be obstacles along the way. Distractions, doubts, moments of discouragement.
Makes sense.
But he urges us to not give up.
Okay.
He uses the metaphor of digging for treasure.
Oh, I like that.
It might take time and effort to unearth that treasure, to break through those layers of difficulty,
Right.
but he emphasizes that the reward is well worth it.
Yeah, the knowledge you gain, the insights you uncover,
Yeah,
they become like precious gems that enrich your life.
beautifully put.
Thank you.
But he also reminds us that it's not just about hitting the books and accumulating information.
Right. Didn't he also talk about the importance of reflecting on what you learn?
Yes.
Okay.
He emphasized that real knowledge isn't just about memorizing facts and figures. It's about internalizing what you learn,
Right.
making connections,
Yeah.
and letting it transform you.
He encourages us to think deeply about what we've learned, connect it to our own lives, and consider how we can use it to become better people.
Exactly.
It's about taking those abstract concepts and making them real,
Right.
allowing them to inform our actions and shape our character.
So knowledge isn't just for personal gain.
Right.
It's about contributing to something larger than ourselves.
It's about aligning our actions with our knowledge, using what we know to serve a higher purpose.
And ultimately, he believed that true knowledge leads us back to God.
Okay.
It deepens our understanding of his creation, strengthens our faith,
Right.
and helps us live a life that is aligned with his will.
It's amazing how Ibn Qayyim manages to weave together these different strands.
He does.
the intellectual pursuit of knowledge,
Mm-hmm.
the ethical responsibility to use it wisely,
Right.
and the spiritual dimension of connecting back to the divine.
His insights are so relevant today,
They are.
especially in a world where we're bombarded with information from all sides.
Yeah, it's a reminder to be discerning about what we choose to learn,
Mm-hmm.
to approach knowledge with the right intention,
Uh-huh.
and to use it as a tool for personal and collective growth.
He reminds us that knowledge is a powerful force,
It is.
and it's up to us to harness that power for good.
What resonates with you most from his perspective?
I think what resonates with me the most is his emphasis on the transformative power of knowledge.
Yeah, it's not just about what we know,
Right?
but about who we become through the process of seeking, internalizing, and applying knowledge.
I think that's a beautiful takeaway.
It is.
He challenges us to see knowledge not as an end in itself,
Mm-hmm.
but as a pathway to a more meaningful, fulfilling, and purposeful life.
And on that note, we've reached the end of our deep dive.
Yes, we have.
What are your final thoughts?
Ibn Qayyim's work offers us a timeless reminder of the importance of seeking knowledge, the different forms it can take,
Right.
and the responsibility that comes with it.
Uh-huh.
His insights challenge us to go beyond superficial learning
Yeah.
and to embrace a more holistic approach to knowledge,
Right.
one that integrates our intellect, our actions, and our spirituality.
It's been a pleasure exploring these ideas with you.
Likewise.
Thank you for joining us on this journey of discovery.
My pleasure.
And for you listening, we hope this deep dive has sparked some curiosity and given you some food for thought.
Until next time, keep those minds curious
Yes.
and those hearts open to new insights. See you next time.